Hello everyone and welcome to IWM Duxford. My name's Ian Campbell, I run PlanesTV, and if you're new around here, we would normally live stream air shows. That's kind of what we do. We've been producing VHS tapes, DVDs, Blu-rays, live productions of air shows for the best part of 30 years. My old man, who's up on the control tower at the moment on wide angle, started it all those years ago. This today is our first live broadcast from an air show since I think July 2019. One of the, I guess it would have been Riyadh, I think probably the last one we did. We did shows later that year, but it's been a long time since we live broadcast the show. And so this here today, the Duxford's first flying day of the year, so not a full air show, slightly shorter flying display, but it presented a pretty good opportunity, I thought, to dust off the outside broadcast trailer, which is sat here. Louis is inside mixing this, and make sure the cameras all work, make sure my arms and legs still work and I can still film aeroplanes for you, and really just get out there and continue a bit of momentum with the live broadcast that we were doing during last year when we couldn't get out to shows. Got a good show lined up for us. I'm going to just, what I was doing on the live broadcast I was doing last year, of course it was all from our archive. I thought what I would do initially here today, we've got a little while till the flying starts at about 1:30, just slightly before. We've got a little while till that happens, so I thought we'd play a little bit of our archive material to kick things off. It's May. 10 years ago we were here for the Duxford May show. It's much windier. I'm pleased to report the weather's fairly good. A little bit of low cloud, but the wind's not as bad as it was 10 years ago for the, I think it was the Women in Aviation Air Show, the theme was. And I thought I'd pick a segment from that. And the girls on the wingwalkers and the wingwalk team, I thought would be a good one. Those guys put up with an awful lot of crazy weather conditions, as you can imagine, on the top of the biplane. So here's a little segment from our IWM Duxford May Air Show from 2011, featuring the Breitling wingwalkers. Enjoy.
Continuing the Women in Aviation theme were the girls on the wing of the Breitling wingwalkers.
The two aircraft fly in formation. And
good stuff, and just confirm my mic's now clear.
And today we've done some handstands, we've done lots of legs up and waving, and at the end of the display we unstrapped ourselves from the main harness and we leaned over the leading edge of the aircraft, waving to the crowd. But it was very, very bumpy, but that kind of adds to the thrill of it, I suppose. The display conditions were quite tricky today as it was so bumpy, so we actually had to miss out the mirror where one aircraft flies upside down and the other comes underneath it. And wing-walking wise, we also had to miss out one called the arabesque, which is this is where we stand in between the cockpit and the wing of the aircraft. So that was unfortunate, but we still had a great time. The crowd was amazing, all waving to us. So all in all, it was a great day. So at the end of the display, when we strap ourselves from the main rig, we climb down into the wind rider position. It's named after a Breitling watch, and so at this point we have to be really, really strong, have to be really, really careful. Getting back down into the cockpit, you have to hold on with all your strength, and again today it was very bumpy, so we were really holding on tight.
Brightening up, and I can tell you as I walked onto this airfield today, there is a wonderful atmosphere around the site. I don't know if you can see, if you've got camera 2 available to you, Louis. We've got a relatively small crowd, limited to 2,000 people. It's the standard admission limit for the museum on a normal museum day. Sold out. I'll have on my camera. Oh, that's natty. Yeah, so you can see there's a decent crowd here. B-17 in the background there, not flying today. Oh, good to see the Corsairs out there actually. if I'm live, I'll give you a shot of that. Excuse my shoddy panning, which I'm doing one-handed, ladies and gents. But these are some of our display aircraft and our fire trucks as well for you to look at. Let me try then and do a little bit of a tour. Now this is a test of a little bit of a new technology here, so bear with us. Give me a nod through the window. Lovely thumbs up. So you get the gist. This is nice. I think I might be pushing my luck slightly with the come back to this camera, Lou, if you can. It was nice idea to do a little bit of a studio tour, but I think probably pushing my luck a little bit too far on the technology this morning. Concentrate on the basics. So the basics today are me on this telephoto camera, trying to remind myself how to film aeroplanes. Adrian, as I say, my father's up on the control camera too, and we've got Louis inside. So if any of the vision mixing looks appalling, you can blame Louis. If any of the camera one material, the telephoto work, you know who to scream at. But don't give Adrian a hard time. He's 70 years old. He should be retired, bless him. So the wide angle stuff, we can give him a pass on that one. So what else have we got to look forward to? We've got Hurricane. I can see they're just prepping there. And as I say, good to see the Corsair out. I think they were struggling to drag it out in time, but looking good. Catalina out there as well, that'll be nice. Marchetti, Spit Mark 1. It's going to be an entertaining afternoon, ladies and gents. A little bit cloudy. I thought to warm us up, maybe we'd head back to our last Duxford Air Show that we covered and released a programme for, which is IWM Duxford September Air Show in 2019. Some glorious summer weather there, some bright sunshine to warm us up this morning as we prepare for some live flying. So the section I've chosen from that, 3 Sea Furies displaying at IWM Duxford September in 2019. Enjoy that one.
Well, from an aircraft that wasn't nearly powerful enough to an aircraft with plenty of potency about it, leading them off, the non-navalised Fury ISS, standing for Iraqi single seat. And that's the only single seat example in this display. And then we've got the first of two-seat Sea Fury T20s, this one from Naval Aviation Limited, and the third, the silver T20. Owned by Sean Patrick and operated by the Norwegian Spitfire Foundation. And the first Mark 10 Sea Furies, which came into service with the Royal Navy in October 1945, began to replace the Supermarine Seafire as the Fleet Air Arm's primary carrier-borne fighter of the post-war years. And production soon switched from the Mark 10 to the FB-11, of which 650 were built, and which saw its most famous actions in the Korean War from 1950 to 53. There, Sea Furies were flown from 3 Royal Navy carriers and 1 Royal Canadian Navy carrier. The best known exploit occurred on the 8th of August 1952 when a Royal Navy Sea Fury scored the only British air-to-air victory of the Korean conflict. When one of a flight of Sea Furies shot down a communist-flown MiG-15, one of which we'll see in the show later. The pilot credited with it was the most senior of those in the flight, Lieutenant Peter Carmichael, though more recent evidence has suggested that it was another pilot of one of the Sea Furies, Brian Ellis, who actually claimed the shoot-down. However, it was still an outstanding exploit and one of the very few piston against jet kills in history. Later, the Sea Fury was replaced in frontline Fleet Air Arm service by the first of the Navy's jets, the Hawker Seahawk and the Supermarine Attacker, but they carried on with squadrons of the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve until 1955, and there were non-navalised Furies built, in fact one of them leading this formation. The Air Arms of Iraq and Pakistan flew them for several years. So the Anglia Aircraft Restoration's Fury in the prototype colours, the first to land, with the ex-multiple Red Bull Air Race champion Paul Bonham at the controls. Now there's a man who really knows how to put a powerful Second World War fighter through its paces. Lieutenant Commander Chris Gutka, former commanding officer of the now disbanded Royal Navy Historic Flight in the Naval Aviation Limited Sea Fury T20. Chris now flying Hawks for his day job in the Navy at RNAS Culdrose in Cornwall. And then the 2-seat re-engined T20, which is owned by Sean Patrick, operated by the Norwegian Spitfire Foundation and flown by a Norwegian in today's show, Eskil Omdal.
Good, lovely sight there. C3 series, 3 Sea Furies at IWM Duxford show in 2019. If I can continue to get my words out, I am reiterating my offer of a tour of our setup here. I've sorted my faff out with my phone, so if you're interested in a little bit of a tour of the setup, I can have a little wander around and maybe even have a quick chat with Louis, quick chat with Adrian, who are supporting the live broadcast that's coming to you today. Normally this would be a solo effort, or rather what I've got used to is it being a bit of a solo effort of me sat at either home or the studio, digging through the archive and bringing you a bit of aviation entertainment. Pleased to say I've got those guys involved this weekend, so hopefully it'll be a little bit more refined than I tend to manage on the live productions on my own. Yeah, because some good flying to look forward to. We have got, how long have we got? That's another 15 minutes before we get an aeroplane in the sky. Everything's gone a little bit quiet, which is always a good sign. Aircraft being prepared for the flying display. I want to say a big shout out to Mike in the chat over on YouTube, who says he had tickets for today. Unfortunately can't come because wife has broken her foot. And very best wishes to your wife, Mike, but pretty poor timing, I think. Bit of a shame. And also Sylvia, I've just spotted you left us a super chat. That's a wonderful way of supporting what we do. Really appreciative of that, Sylvia. I know you've been a supporter for a long time, and it makes a huge difference. And this, as I say, is there's no commercial justification for me coming and live broadcasting this air show today. Really, it's a bit of a test of all the systems and to make sure that we can still do the thing we like to do in time for some of the bigger shows maybe we'll see later on in the year. And I am making extra efforts to cover flying displays that we wouldn't normally cover. Normally we'd be focused on the likes of Air Tattoo, of the Overton. Sadly both of those shows we don't have, and of course Cosford's hopefully happening in September. I'm looking on the bright side, guys, and I'm going to head out to some shows that we don't normally see, so hopefully all being well, Old Buckingham at the end of July in preparation for me scooting off to my summer holidays in August. Yeah, and a couple of others as well. Maybe more Duxford shows, and certainly in July I'd like to think we'll be broadcasting that show as well. We shall see. But yes, this is a bit of a test of all the systems. Who else did I want to say a shout out to? Chris in the chat. I'm hoping you've still got moderator controls over there. Thank you for joining us as always. I think we'll throw to a wide angle shot of the audience we have here today, just while we do our final preps and get ready for the flying display. So if you want to throw on a wide and cut my mic, Louis. Lovely stuff. It's all starting to happen here. Got fire engines positioning. Hurricane pilot's in his cockpit and about to start. I'm hoping Adrian's got a shot of that, Louis. I can keep an eye on him. I'll keep an eye on him and we'll head over to Adrian, who's got a shot of that in due course. Oh, it's lovely, you know, just the atmosphere of an air show. It is really wonderful to be back. Not quite so wonderful to have my old man shouting in my ear about shots that he may or may not have. If we can get him to shut up, Louis. Marchetti's crewed in as well. The guys over by the Catalina. I should tell you what I should do is probably get a few shots of this stuff. Yeah, so Catalina guys there getting prepped. We've got the Marchetti over here. Looking forward to his display. I think Mark 1 Spit, which is over here, blah blah blah. I think that he's closing the show. One of the and there we go, Hurricane take starting up. So, some big thank yous to people sending over the super chats and the on YouTube and the stars over on Facebook. Quite a long list of you that I'm struggling to keep up with, but a big thank you to MB on YouTube who bought our beers for the evening last night. Thank you for that. The Hurricane started up. It's going to take off in just a couple of minutes, ready for the flying display to start at 5:30. I might have mentioned earlier that we don't currently have a PA feed. It's something we've talked about with IWM but haven't quite got there yet this morning, so that might detract slightly from the enjoyment of the flying display. But you know what, the sound of aircraft flying around, live flying display, it's better than nothing, isn't it, today? May try and sort that out in due course. To remind myself what else was on the running order. Got the Corsair and Spitfire over there as well. I think a couple of formation routines, which is going to be nice. Yeah, Hurricane taxiing out. And we have ourselves an air show, ladies and gentlemen. This is wonderful. Adrian's complaining about not having a long enough lens, bless him. Let's see what I can do. There's the Hurricane taxiing out. Splendid. And there's the Cub as well, just taxiing up behind the Hurricane. Or Grasshopper, I should say. Be our first display of the day. Hurricane will go off into the hold to the north. Oh, juggling far too much here, but it's all good fun. Just think I could be sat at home watching some football. Alright, well I think during the flying display I probably won't be chatting too much. I'll be concentrating on picking up airplanes flying around. But once again, a big thank you to everyone that's been supporting us over the last 12 months. Being a PlanesTV On Demand subscriber, that service is available at watch.planestv.com. Those subscribers really have helped us through a pretty tricky year. That service, it covers all of our last 10 years of archive material, programs, and very many beyond that, into the past, into the early 90s. At the very end of the show, I'm going to drag Adrian down. We're going to have a chat about some of the material he recorded here at Duxford in the mid-90s, which is available to on-demand subscribers at watch.planestv.com. A big thank you again to everyone leaving super chats and stars over on Facebook. As I say, this has been a this is just dusting the kit off, making sure it all works. Get out to an air show again, film some aeroplanes. It's what we do. It's what we love to do. And yeah, if anyone that's supporting us in those ways, and the super chats and the stars, it sounds silly, but you know, anything you chip in, it kind of justifies me being here. You know, if I see lots of new subscribers as well on PlanesTV on demand, that helps as well. Hopefully you're getting the gist. There is as well I really am pushing my luck here, or pushing myself a little bit, but if you're more of a DVD or Blu-ray kind of a person, you can head over on to PlanesTV.com for a 30% discount across all of our DVDs and Blu-rays this weekend, just to celebrate the fact that we're out at an air show again. So I think I'll sign off at this point, ask Louis to mute my mic and focus on filming some aeroplanes for you. I hope you really enjoy the flying display. It's only going to be an hour or so long, so not a huge display today, but a live flying display. Thanks for joining us. basically that until it stops moving.
I mean, can I hold that? Is that going to be too noisy?
A nice gentle way to start the flying display, and an easy start for Adrian and I as well on camera. Hopefully didn't mess that one up too much. Expecting the Hurricane in any minute, but I can see the Marchetti taking off, which Adrian will no doubt get. And I'm keeping an eye out for the Hurricane. Starts staring at the crowd rather than the sky, because you tend to see that people in the crowd will pick it up before me. It helps that Adrian's got a bit of extra height. He's told me he's coming in from the right, so I better get to work. I can just see Spitfire and Corsair around the back there, just forming up for their formation routine. Maybe we'll get a bit of a solo each, I'm not sure. I hope you're enjoying this. I certainly am. It's been a very long time, as I mentioned at the outset, since I filmed a live air show, so this is wonderful. Nothing heading in just yet. Do stick around at the end. I'm anticipating, well, I'm hoping I'm going to grab someone from Duxford to chat about what this flying day is all about. But if not, we're going to grab Adrian. He's going to talk about some airshow highlights from Duxford in the 1990s. Do make sure to subscribe here on YouTube, like the Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter, live on all of those networks today. Excuse the wobble cam on the Hurricane there. I'm trying to do three things at once and tell Louis to bring me in for a final chat this afternoon. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed what's been a fairly short flying display. We've got Spitfire coming in a moment, which we'll record, of course, and maybe there'll be a bit of, a few takeoffs and aircraft milling around, which we'll try and include as well. I'm hoping I might get a chance in a little while to drag Dad down and bring you some highlights from one of our previous programmes, shot at Duxford in the 1990s. That comes from our on-demand service. Obviously this broadcast has been free to view, and I hope to do very many of these through the year. And if you're able to do anything, well, if you're wondering how you might be able to support and encourage me to do more, do give this video a like wherever you're viewing it, or share, or whatever. And also, if you felt inclined to support, go visit watch.planestv.com. See if you like what you see there, and do think about subscribing. Spitfire coming in, let's focus on him. Gorgeous stuff. I think John Romain closing the show there in the Spitfire. I think I'm right in saying. Unfortunately, we haven't got Ben Donnell around with all the notes and the expert commentary. And that's one aspect of this that we haven't been able to include is live commentary. It's this early stages of the year, and we're just kind of dusting everything off and getting into the flow of things. I'd like to think that if we're able to do a few more flying days, that we can include that as well. Hoping Adrian's able to pick up the Spitfire taxiing in while I talk to you about some of the ways you might be able to support and encourage me to do more of these. So, it's a fairly expensive endeavour bringing a few cameras out. No one's paying us to be here. So if you're able to help and support in any way, do think about subscribing over on watch.planestv.com. It gives you access to our back catalogue of programmes stretching right back to the early 90s. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to show you a bit of one of those from Duxford in 1995 in just a little while. Grab Dad down once the Spitfire shut down. Let's focus on him for the time being though. Superb, and I'm pretty sure we're talking about John Romain closing the show there. And I think, Louis, am I right in saying that the clip that we're going to show from Duxford includes a chat with John all those years ago? He says, oh yes, I think you're right. Oh no, you're not. So maybe we'll drag that one out in a little while as well. A very young looking John Romain in 1995 talking about maintaining the Blenheim and Lysander as well back then. That means the clip we're going to show is something else. So I wait with bated breath to find out what that is. Ah, the ME-109G. Okay, yes. And two of them? Two ME-109s? We've got Louis, who's on the end of my ear set here, and I are the wrong people to talk about this stuff. I'm going to drag Adrian down, and Dad, if you're listening in on camera too, there you can come down now, and we'll have a conversation about Duxford 1995. Well, yeah, hasn't it been nice to be back at an air show? And of course, the sun is coming out just as the flying ends. Bit of a shame. It's a bit of sunshine on aeroplanes is always better for video, but hey, I'll take it. At least we haven't got... Mark Ellis, thank you so much for your donation, presumably on YouTube, Louis. Really helpful little super chats. Maybe we will have steak tonight, Louis. That's a joke. That's a joke, Mark. Your money isn't going to be invested directly into beer and beef, I promise. Make sure everyone gets a pint. I take it back. Maybe after the long drive home. Outside broadcast truck's got to get dragged back down to Devon this evening. I hope it'll be out on the road in the not too distant future. Next weekend I'll be over at I'll be providing camera for our Ability show at Biggin Hill, and I'm going to head over to Stonemarie's, not for a live stream, but to record some of the flying display there. And then I don't know if I can talk about Monday or not. I won't do, but I'm out with the camera filming airplanes on Monday as well. Hello, Adam. Oh, Adam, do you fancy hopping on? We're live at this moment. Would you like to come and have a little chat? Poor old Dad has been trumped by Adam. If you stand just with that tripod leg between your legs, goodness me, what a request to make of a man. It's all a little bit thrown together, this.
I've built a career on it.
Oh, Adam, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Louis, have you got Adam's audio okay? It is the GH4, yeah. Give us some levels,
How's that?
Adam.
Is that right?
Chat. Yeah.
Chat.
Adam, probably down to... I don't know why there would be echo on that. Alright, I'll tell you what, let's do roving reporter, shall we? Adam, thanks for coming across. I asked Adam to come over and explain what the flying days are all about. Obviously we're using it as a bit of a test of all the kit and everything else, and it's kind of the same for everyone else.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, flying days are a really great opportunity for us to be able to fly some of the wonderful aircraft that we've got in the collection here at Duxford, and just give the visitors an opportunity to get a bit of a taster, not quite a full air show, but a bit more flying than you'd perhaps normally get to see on a normal day at Duxford. So it's a really good opportunity for people to get out and just see, because as you guys know really well, we've got such great aircraft based here, and it's really good, certainly after the past year or so and all the difficulties we've all experienced, just to see them back out and sort of doing their thing. So this is the first one we've had this year. It's our first flying day. We've got another 9 or so to come again. We've got another one in 2 weeks' time around D-Day, and it's just great to see people back and the aircraft doing their thing back in the air again. So yeah, nice times, very nice day. Weather's starting to get a bit better now as well. Obviously something we can't quite control, but it's really good to see everybody back out.
It really is, isn't it? And I don't know about you, but walking on the airfield this morning and just to see people geared up and ready for an air show, it's such a novelty to me. I haven't seen that for so long. And yeah, a wonderful atmosphere around the show. Really nice and smooth flying display. Roving mic, sorry. And yeah, and creating some of that continuity and getting people back into the flying display world. So we're talking about new flying display director today, maybe members of the commentary team and things like that. You know, these flying days are built for that purpose, aren't they? Getting people into the airshow industry and helping support the industry more widely.
Absolutely. I think something that I know you guys do really well at PlanesTV is sort of talk about how big the airshow industry is. It's a massive industry for the UK, and what we really want to do here at Duxford is make sure that we're sort of building on developing that. You know, it takes an awful lot of time and effort to put on an airshow the size of the ones that we do at Duxford or Shuttleworths or the Riats. They are, you know, big complex events, and what we want to make sure that we're doing is bringing through that next generation of people. I mean, there's been people like, if you don't mind me saying, ourselves, who've been involved with airshows for a very long time and really have that sort of enthusiasm, but it's really great to see sort of younger flying display directors coming through, and you know, also new people on the crowd side of things, on the logistics, the traffic management. And what this does, it gives us a really great opportunity to do that in a slightly smaller environment, slightly safer environment than the sort of airshows. Safer in terms of there's not quite so much sort of going on, it's not quite as dynamic. But it's a really great opportunity for us to build on that and get new flying display directors, and also for the display pilots as well, having the opportunity to come display at a venue like Duxford, because again, what we want to make sure is that not just like the museum side of things, we want to make sure that in 50 years time there's still flying displays going on at Duxford. That's still happening, and the only way we're going to do that is by making sure A, that visitors are engaged and loving what they're seeing, and B, that we've got those professional experts behind the scenes making sure that everything runs smoothly, and hopefully, as it has done today, nice smooth day, great flying, great day out, lots of things to see on the ground as well. We think it's gone really well, and looking forward to the remainder of them throughout this year really. Plus the big flying days as well, we can't forget those.
I was just going to bring us around to discuss those, yeah. But just on that, then the young people and the audience members, it's, talking again about that atmosphere. Certainly, listening over my shoulder to the few younger members of the crowd that I can hear, the oohs and the ahs, and with a smaller crowd, actually it gives the youngsters a bit more space to run around and play and feel a little bit less intimidated than being in a larger crowd as well. So that's an interesting aspect to the atmosphere of a flying day, actually. Talking then about the bigger shows, then we're looking forward to July, if I can get my words out. It's been a long 48 hours. And we're all building up to that and hoping everything progresses in the way that we're hoping. But tickets not on sale yet, but some decisions to be made in June.
Yes, absolutely. So we've, as you can imagine, been doing a huge amount of work over the winter in planning for the flying displays this year. And I mean, certainly in the 18 or so years I've been involved in flying displays at Duxford, this has been by far the most challenging. For our regular visitors and for our regular staff members and our regular watchers will know what a flying display looks like at Duxford, and we like to think we're very well versed in doing that. What obviously coronavirus has thrown up is a whole different aspect to how we put on events in terms of capacities and restrictions and making sure that everybody's having a really safe event. So we have decided to just slightly delay putting tickets on sale. We're still absolutely confident that we will have our flying weekend in July and our Battle of Britain flying weekend in September. We know we've got some great aircraft that we're going to be announcing very soon about both flying displays, so that's looking really positive. But we didn't want to start selling tickets until we were confident about what was actually going to be happening with ticket sales. So I'm sure everybody who's watching this will be aware of all the information coming out from government and all the trial events that are going on, and we just didn't feel confident selling tickets to people until we were able to say, right, this is what you're going to have to do to be able to come to our event. And we're hoping that when we get that information, hopefully around sort of mid-June, we can get tickets on sale really quickly after that, and really look forward to sort of welcoming people to the flying days. But yes, it's been tricky, but I think as today has shown, and as we're all seeing in the sort of news, there is light at the end of the tunnel on this, and we're really pleased that flying displays will be coming back bigger and better over the next few years.
Thank you very much for having us. It's been, as I say, an opportunity for us to dust off the kit and make sure everything works again. And you and I have spoken over the last 12 months, haven't we, at the various opportunities where events haven't taken place that we maybe hoped they had. So thank you for your time on the previous ones. Thanks for having us this weekend, and let's keep our fingers crossed for future shows.
No, pleasure, and thank you and all at PlanesTV for your support on this as well. Obviously, we've all gone through a really difficult time, and it's great to see the sort of interest that this is getting, and hopefully people are more used to watching things on the internet now. So fingers crossed, this is a really area that we can all sort of look to expand into. So yeah, positive times ahead.
And speaking of expanding, I quite want next time to have something other than a microphone stand as my boom for these interviews. We were fairly well set up, but we're running a fairly limited team, aren't we, this weekend? It's just dusting everything off, making sure everything works. So hopefully it hasn't detracted from the entertainment value of the flying display. Thank you, Adam.
Pleasure. Thank you, guys.
All right, good stuff. Well, yeah, that's wonderful to hear from Adam and to hear about some of the plans for the rest of the season. I'm certainly hoping to be stood back here again doing much the same. Louis, we've got those ME-109s lined up, haven't we? Let's show a bit of that material. Let's have a little bit more flying. Sadly, aircraft we don't see flying anymore, but let's head back to Duxford flying display back in 1995. This clip from our Duxford Year programme, a highlight programme of all of the shows from the Duxford Airshow calendar. All right, let's have a look at that.
And, until today, the only ME-109 on display with an original Daimler-Benz engine. It's taking off to welcome a new resident to Duxford. ME-109G10, owned by Hans Dietz and recently rebuilt in Germany from an amalgamation of airframes. Mark Hanna of the Old Flying Machine Company is flying today, and they're to operate the aircraft for this display season.
So some gorgeous material there from the 90s, and when Adrian has stopped chatting to Adam over here, I'll show you a shot of this. This is what happens at the end of an air show with my old man. He always finds someone to grab and chat to. It usually lasts about as long as it takes for the rest of us to pack everything away. That's what I tend to find. So carry on chatting away there until Louis and I have tidied up all the cables, the cameras, and then he'll, do you know, today he might even hop in his own vehicle and go home before we've even started packing away. Anyway, we'll drag him over in a minute to talk about some of those, some of the material that he recorded in the 1990s here at Duxford and elsewhere. All of that, as I say, available on PlanesTV on demand. At watch.planestv.com, you can subscribe to that service. A bit of activity here on the airfield you might be able to hear in the background. We've got the Tiger Moth starting up, Dragon Rapide taxiing around. See Classic Wings operating pleasure flights, which is fantastic to see. Yeah, nice looking full Dragon Rapide. It's a very interesting aeroplane to go for a flight on. I can well recommend it. You have to walk up the aisle to find your seat. What a gorgeous thing. I'm juggling far too much here. Well, it does look like Adrian's going to continue chatting all afternoon. But if there are viewers, Louis, still watching this, then I promise an entertaining chat with my old man and talking about the trials and tribulations of running a niche video production company for 30 years in a little while. Other things you can do to keep begging you to support, but there are opportunities for you too, ladies and gentlemen. There's a 30% sale across all DVDs and Blu-rays on the PlanesTV.com website this weekend, just to celebrate the fact that we're at an air show, and it seems like an opportunity to throw a bit of a deal out there. So yeah, if you're in need of a bit of aviation entertainment before we get back out to air shows proper, pick up a DVD or Blu-ray at PlanesTV.com. Well, he's well and truly in depth in this chat. He's well aware that I want him to come over and have a chat, although I suppose in this moment he isn't. He's well engrossed in a chat. No, take a hint. Nothing. I think maybe Louis will just give me an opportunity to walk away from the camera and tap the guy on the shoulder. So hope so. Back. Watch out. Go round that tripod leg. Thank you. That's all right. I don't mind people hearing me order my own father around. Hello, Dad.
Talking to you or the camera?
You can choose. So you selected that little bit of material from the Duxford year 1995 programme. Tell us a little bit about that ME-109 stuff.
Well, I started coming here. Well, started coming here as an enthusiast in the 70s, but first year commercially was 1990, and a big year 91 when Black 6, the real Messerschmitt 109, first flew. That was a tremendous year. Lots going on over the next few years, but the clip I've suggested we show from our Duxford year 1995 programme is the bit on Black 6. Black 6, the real Messerschmitt 109 with the real Daimler-Benz engine, joined that year by a second Messerschmitt 109 with a real Daimler-Benz engine. And what was great for me was I got to fit a little camera in the Lancaster, on the flare chute at the back of the Lancaster, for it to shoot air-to-air of the two Messerschmitts. So I think we've got that queued up now to play from our Duxford year 1995 programme, and but there's lots more that year. What else? 1995. Oh, it was the big victory celebrations, wasn't it? Is that 50 years? Yeah, 50 years from VE Day, and the big flyby over London started from here. All the historic aircraft took off from here. And I was at the brief and then left the cameraman here, and I dashed to London, to the top of the Royal London Hospital, and filmed the flyby from the Royal London Hospital. But of course, guess what happens from the top of the Royal London Hospital? They get a shout, don't they? And everybody has to move back to let the helicopter away. So I think that was on our Victory Airshow 1995. But yeah, Duxford year 1995. John Romain brought the Lysander in that year. That was tremendous to join his other Mercury-engined aircraft. 1995, what else?
No, some superb memories there, and that programme, of course, we've shown a few clips here, and it's available in its entirety on the on-demand service, and it's a nice way to pass the time, ladies and gents, and a big thank you again to all the subscribers of that service who've really helped keep us going during a period where we haven't had shows and had the revenue that we normally have to keep things going. I hope you've enjoyed the broadcast today. I am going to bring it to a close now, I think. As I say, do follow us on the various platforms, but the very best way to keep in contact with what we're doing, other shows that we're broadcasting, is the email newsletter. I don't tend to send too many out of those, and it's a very personal thing. It's literally me, and I run the business, I operate the camera, and occasionally present, and I write the email newsletters, and you can reply to those, and that comes direct to me. It's quite a nice way of keeping in contact, and thank you to all those who replied to the one on Friday with well-wishing for us returning to a live air show. It's really nice to have this sort of direct connection with people who share the passion and interest in air shows and aviation that we do at PlanesTV. So I think with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for more live flying. I'm going to run inside and show Louis where the fade to black button is. And wish you well. I'll see you at an air show soon. Bye bye.